Alright guys, so welcome. This is gonna be my first Blender exercise tutorial, and I'm gonna be just showing you guys how to make a simple house. I've done this before in my live tutorials, but I just wanted to do it a bit slower so the fundamentals are easier to understand. So right now we're in object mode, and we can just like sort of rotate around like this. And what we're going to need to do is we need to first start off by adding a cube. You can do this by going here, mesh, and then click on cube. Move this up like this. Next, what you want to do is you're going to need to scale this to look more like a house. So you can either click this button right here, the scale button, and do this, or you can click S, and then since the red axis is the x-axis, the green axis right here is the y-axis, and the z-axis is the axis that goes like this. So this is y-axis, this is x-axis, and this is z-axis. So why don't we click S, X to scale on the x-axis. Okay, and why don't we scale a little bit on the y-axis as well. Nice. So I like the shape that we have so far. Next, we want to make a roof shape, right? So let's make sure that we have the object selected. Let's have the object selected. And then go into edit mode right here. And then make sure you're on face select. Click on the face. And then click extrude. Alright, so now we have like another add-on to our face right here. And you're like wondering, how do we turn this into this, right? So first go to vertex select right here. And then let's select the vertex. These two vertexes right here. So shift select them. If you want to select more than one thing in Blender, click one right here. Shift, click another thing right here. Then click M, and then what M does, it pulls up this panel where you can merge vertexes at a specific spot. So let's merge at center, and look, now it's merged at center. Let's do it for the other side as well. Click one vertex right here, click the other vertex right here by clicking shift, click M, merge at center. And now look what we have. This is pretty nice so far. I want to make it a little bit taller, so we're in object mode. Let's switch back to edit mode. Click the edge select button, and then why don't you move the edge up like this a bit. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to make the roof a bit thicker. Like we have this shape right here that can be removed, right? Let's do that. So let's first click edit mode. So we're in edit mode. Click face select. Click one face right here. Click the other face right here. Click P. Click select. And now what we have right here is we have another part. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this area right here. We're going to rename this by double clicking. Name this roof. And then we're going to name this house body. Alright, so now we have our two items. I want to make the roof thicker, so let's go to edit mode. Click A. And what you're going to do is you're going to click option E. So what option E does is pull up this extrude thing right here, like a little menu, so you can do many things. So you can obviously click option E and then click extrude faces, and it goes up like this. But that's not what we want. We're gonna just click option E again, and then click extrude faces along normals. And now look, what happened is a roof also got thicker along the sides. So what extrude along normals does is it just extrudes on multiple faces. So now we have this right here. I want to make it a bit thicker on the x-axis. So click SX. Ta-da. So now let's add some color first. So let's make a material. I want this house to be green. And make sure you, while you're doing all this, make sure you're on this viewport shading material preview button, because this is the only view mode that can actually display the colors. Okay, I said green. Ooh, I love this green so much. Let's call it house green color. Now let's add another material for the roof. Let's make the house a red color. Yeah, I like that. Red roof color. And now what we're going to need to do is we need to add a door. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how booleans work. So go to Shift A, add another cube, and just move the cube right here. And just scale it a bit. We're going to need to like create a door shape. So let's play around with it for a second. Okay, so we have a door shape right here, right? So now we're gonna click on the house body material shape right here, right? Go here, add modifier, make sure it's boolean, and then make sure it's selected on difference right here, and then click on the door object that we have right here. And now what we're gonna do is make sure, sorry I didn't do this earlier, but rename this to door, and then just duplicate it by clicking Shift D. So now we have another one right here. And now what you're going to do is go back, click on the object right here, and apply the boolean by clicking on this arrow right here. Click apply. And now you can finally delete this material right here. And look, we have a sort of inset in our faces right here. And I'm going to move the door that we duplicated. This one's up a little bit as well. And then let's go to materials. We're gonna create a new brown material. Okay, so I like what we have so far. And now, before we add the doorknob, I'm just gonna quickly show you guys how to add a window. We're gonna just repeat the same process. So click mesh, cube, scale across the y-axis, and make sure it's sort of, the window block is aligned with the door. So okay, now let's click on modifiers, add modifier, and then boolean, and then click on the window object. Wait, before we do that, make sure this is named window 1, and then Shift D, duplicate it, and then rename this window 2. Okay, back to difference. So yeah, make sure you select on difference, click on window 1, and then click apply, and then click X delete. Alright, now what we have right here is we have a little inset, and now since we're in object mode, go back to edit mode, and now what you can do is you can select on each individual face inside the inset, which I think is a really cool thing with Blender. So I have this face select right here, right? Now why don't you click subdivide, make sure you're only selected on this face, by the way, click subdivide. And now what you notice is that it's been split into 4 cuts, and you can also edit it by coming into this little pop-up right here, by just increasing the amount of cuts that we have. I'm going to keep it simple and just have one cut, right? And then now we can just click out of it. And now what we're going to need to do is we're going to inset these individual faces, right? By clicking I. So if, make sure, let me do this again, by the way. Sorry. So make sure select all faces by clicking shift, right? Click I, and then you'll have this thing happen, right? And that's not what you want. You click individual right here on the inset faces panel. And now you can see that all the faces are separately insetted. And then what you want to do is now you just want to play around with the shape of the window, right? So go to edge select right here. And then just click on the edges and then move it around like this. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is click extrude by clicking, before we click shift, click all these faces that we have right here, and just click extrude. And now let's add another material in this material panel. Let's click new, let's click blue. Make sure it's the right blue. And then click assign, like make sure you have these faces selected, right? And then click on the material and click assign, and look, you have your own window. I want to make the windows still right here gray. Let's add another material. Click new, click gray, just plain gray. And let's also name this to glass. Let's name this window border. Okay, now just select on all of these faces right here. Okay, this is good. And if you ever want to change the materials of your materials in Blender, just go back and let's say, oh, I want this window to be darker. Just do that. You can just edit it. But yeah, now we have our own little house in Blender. I think the last thing that we're going to add is a chimney. So let's go back to, I don't think we're actually going to need this window too. Let's just stick with one window. Add another object, Shift A cube. Just scale it down like this. Scale scale Z by Z axis. Scale by Y axis. And then make sure we go to the material select. We can view all the materials you've created right here. Let's go click on house green color. Alright, and then since you're in object mode, click edit mode by clicking tab. And then click extrude scale, and what you can do is create something like this, is that you can now create a bigger plane. Now click extrude again, click inset again now, then click extrude. And now we have our little chimney guy right here. Let's move this around. I'm going to move this to the other side. Alright, so now we have our very own low poly Blender house. This will be my first exercise, and I'll definitely be posting more exercises in the future. Thanks for watching, guys.